Season 3 of Bojack Horseman. So Bojack Horseman Season 3 starts off right where the other one left off. Bojack and Todd are friends again, and he's finished with his movie. And so now this season really deals with him and his Oscar push on his new movie. He really wants to win an Oscar, and as you'll see throughout the season, he's only doing this because he feels that it's ultimately going to make him happy and give his life some sort of meaning. All of the main characters are back, and they show a lot more of them now, so that it's not always so Bojack-centric. That makes the show a lot more balanced. It kind of evens the time out with spending some time with the horse, spending some time with one of the other main characters. With all of it being under half an hour, it still goes by pretty quickly, but you're getting a lot of information, and you're still going through the story and still getting what you need to get out of it. His main goal is to win an Oscar, but Bojack being Bojack is still getting himself into trouble by overthinking things, or honestly at most of the times just being his messed up self. There's a few flashback scenes, not as much as the two previous seasons, more so to a time actually after his 90s TV show. At a certain point in time too, he feels super entitled because he finished his movie and he's nominated for an Oscar. And so the whole time he's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna get nominated, I'm gonna win. But because of that, he feels up here as a movie star. It leads to some weird adventures per episode that he goes on and off with some other character and does something while he's making this push for his Oscar nomination. It's an amazing season. It's probably my favorite one so far. Every single episode tries to do something a little bit different. There's one where he's visiting the underwater town, and that episode is so unique, but it's so good, but you have to make sure you're paying full attention to that. There's a few episodes that hit on some pretty big social issues like abortion, but I think they handled it in the best Bojack Horseman kind of way. That's something that occurs to one of the other main characters, but it slowly shows how the show is trusting to not just focus on Bojack, even though he's still in many of the episodes. In fact, I think he is in every single one. He's not at times the main focus of that specific episode, and so that makes the rest of the characters shine. Same meta humor, more so that parts of it is actually meta on meta, so it makes it that much more, I would say, clever. You could argue that there's an episode called The Bojack Horseman Show in which he tried making a brand new show after his Horsing Around show, and he's like, no, let's make it really raw and uncut. And honestly, I feel that's kind of a meta joke onto what this show is, but basically that the show we're watching is what he was intending to create. And just like I mentioned with last season, 20 to 30 minute episodes that makes it feel like old sitcoms. It's set up like that time-wise, but it's very much subverted into that nothing does get resolved at the end of a specific episode. In fact, sometimes maybe even it gets worse. And the second to last episode is probably the heaviest of this show. All 3 seasons, this is probably the saddest, most hits you in the feelings episode. After you're done watching it, you really just don't know what to do because it gives you a very, very big, heavy feeling. But I do think that's what makes the show so powerful, that it does that. But within that same episode, a few minutes before, you're laughing your ass off because of something that happened. I think here it's such more counterweighted, in which the funny part is funny, but then this fucked up thing really brings you down. I think out of the 3 seasons, this one's the more cohesive. It blends those outside miniature stories coming in with the main overall arc of Bojack wants his award. One of my favorite parts too is when Todd's having a discussion with Bojack after he does something horrible again, and he finally just has it with him, and he tells him straight up that it's not your fucked up past, it's not your issues, it's not anything else, it's just, that's just who you are. And it's interesting to kind of hear the sincerity of it and just see him just almost giving up on his friend, because that's just who he is, and he either has to accept his friend or just end that. Funniest character for me this season is definitely Mr. Peanut Butter. Every episode he's doing something hilarious, and his arc towards the end of the season I think is so funny, and it's such a big payoff. I'd say my favorite episode, apart from that second to last episode in which it's so heavy-hearted, is probably that one that I mentioned that it takes place underwater, just because that's of how creative it was. The season is really great. I definitely recommend it. If you haven't watched the 2 previous ones, I would make sure that you binge those to get right into this one, because this will be well worth it if you do have those other 2 behind you. You'll laugh, you'll almost cry or maybe cry, but you'll definitely feel some sort of aching sadness, but that's just good TV. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button if you want to see more videos as I post them out. Just hit subscribe with the bell icon so that you can get the alerts. But I'll see you next time.